Hello, everybody. Hi. So we've got Mychal, we've got Lisa who's walking in the street. I see people who are not our students. I guess I'm admitting them all. Here we go. Okay. Many people are
Yeah, I'm all in there.
coming. All right. Um, all right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. Mychal, how are you? Good evening.
Hello, Saïd.
So why don't we just, I'll tell you what, I'll introduce myself. Mychal, you can introduce yourself. And then I was thinking current students, let's do something fun where you introduce yourselves and say what year you're in. And why don't you give us one sentence or two sentences max about what your thesis is. Okay, so I'm Saïd Sayrafiezadeh. I'm a professor along with Mychal. We both teach workshop and craft class. We switch off. Mychal, you want to say hi?
Hey, I'm Mychal Denzel Smith. Teach alongside Saïd. This semester I'm doing craft. And then in the spring semester I take over workshop. And then also, that wonderful thesis stuff with my second year is doing some advising there. And that's the summation of my job.
Ariel, do you want to start? Introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Ariel McManus. I am a first year, and I am writing kind of about environmentalism a little bit and also about violence in suburbs.
Right. Lisa, I'm going to wait on you until you're. How about you, Aaron? Hi, Aaron.
Hi, I did not realize that I was not muted. I'm Erin Williams. I'm a second year, and I'm writing about how power dynamics complement and contaminate narratives of sexual trauma and desire.
Hi, Natalie.
I gotta do this right now. I'll just come find you in a little bit. Let me do this for a little bit. I don't know.
Let me see if I can mute. Okay, go ahead, Natalie.
Hi, I'm Natalie Power. I'm a first year, and I'm writing about an extreme religious experience that I lived through.
Hi, Rosalind.
Hi, sorry about my cat. She just woke up. I'm Rosalind. I'm a second year. I'm writing on Indigenous futurisms, time travel through physical migration, I guess exploring like class, Mexico, US, like colonial border relations, and my family's like Indigenous cultures. Yeah.
Great. Julia.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julia. I'm a first year, and my thesis is about grief, about coming of age, popular music, and friendship.
And hi, Chelsea.
Can't hear you right now,
hon.
Yeah.
Hello, if you can hear me, can you mute? Is this Adam? There you go. Okay. Hi, Chelsea.
Hi. Hi everyone. My name is Chelsea, and geez, I'm writing about let's see, childhood innocence and sexual experiences in childhood, and kind of how my mother dealt with that based on her own trauma, and also about Caribbean culture.
Lisa, do you want to just wait? Should we just wait on you, or do you want to speak?
I can speak. I'm just writing about being a daughter and a mother and life and death. And I'll just note for all the people who are on this that like our topics morph over time. So that's where I am today, and who knows where I'll be next week.
And Lisa, actually, where are you right now? What street are you on?
I'm on St. John's Place in Underhill, the
Love
writing
it.
capital of Brooklyn.
Writing capital. So as you can all see, very simple, straightforward theses, nothing complicated, very easy ideas. So why don't we open it up for people who have questions, things that you're wondering about with the program. Happy to have Mychal and I answer, or some of the students could answer. If you feel more comfortable putting it in the chat, you can feel free to do that. Matter of fact, Natalie, are you able to see the chat, Natalie?
Am I able to see the chat?
Yeah. Actually, don't worry about it. I'll monitor.
Don't worry, I'll
You got it,
monitor.
Mychal? Okay, okay. I mean, Mike Rizzo kind of gave a pretty broad overview of the program and what to expect, but any other questions more specific about what you could be
That's
looking
over here at Nonfiction.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
interested. We got a question here. I'm interested in journalism, and I'm wondering how many students transition into the field and in what ways. Huh. I'm curious, are you asking if our MFA students transition into journalism? Okay. I don't know that too many. Well, what I'll say is this, that in creative nonfiction, it is a genre that's pretty porous and encompasses a lot of things. We are not a journalism program, right? Like neither Saïd or I are journalists, but journalism can be a part of the experience of writing creative nonfiction. And so our focus isn't on teaching you sort of the mechanics of journalism here. And with that, I don't know that too many of our students are sort of transitioning into the field of journalism after they're done with the program. The idea is to write sort of lyric essay, memoir, that sort of thing, but it doesn't preclude anyone from doing journalism. As you know, the course of a writing career, one can jump in and out of different modes.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I've been teaching at Hunter for I guess 10 years now. I do not know of, and maybe it's happened, but of anyone who went into journalism after our MFA in creative nonfiction. But let me ask our students now, any thoughts on that? I mean, are any of you like looking forward to becoming New York Times reporters? What's going on? No. Natalie? No. Chelsea? No. So Sage, I don't think that that's necessarily a clear trajectory.
Yeah. Another question coming in. I'm sorry if this was addressed in Mike Rizzo's section, but I was wondering how funding worked for most of the nonfiction students. It doesn't.
Yes, it does
We don't have
not.
any money.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, everybody, feel free to, if you think it's been asked already, and you don't worry, ask again. And
Please.
no question is dumb. I don't want anybody to feel nervous about anything. So, what else? I mean, sorry, go ahead, Mychal.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, listen, I'll give you just a little bit more than what Mychal had said. So what is expected of your time at with Mychal and I is you will be 80 pages are expected at the end of your 2 years. You'll be taking craft and workshop with Mychal and me every semester. You'll also take 2 lit classes. That's in your first year. You can take whatever you want, work it in with whatever schedule you have. I think there are some Saturday classes as well. You can even do it in the summer. I wonder if any of the students have, Lisa, you did that? Okay, great. Lisa, I see that you're in the waiting room for some reason. Okay, I just said. Our classes meet Monday and Thursday evenings. Mychal meets Monday evening, 5:30 to 7:20. Mine meets Thursday, 5:30 to 7:20. That's how it's always going to be. If you have a job, I mean, I'd love to hear from the students, but the idea is that you're not, that this is to work around the life that you have, the reality of your life. Most of our students have full-time jobs. Some of them have families. I've had students in the past who have commuted from, Connecticut. I don't know. Does anybody want to speak to that at all? Jobs? Ariel, you got a job? Yeah.
I do have a job. I have a
Okay.
full-time job in
It's
like a
working out
corporate
okay.
environment. Yeah, and I found it very doable. I took a class over the summer, so I'm only taking 2 classes right now, and I've definitely found it that I've been able to balance it.
Same for me. I mean, I feel a little bit panicked all the time, but that's not that different than the rest of my life.
I second Lisa's response. I also have a full-time job that tends to be physical. It can get pretty running around. And so I do feel, a little bit of like I have to juggle, but it's not not doable once, I stick to my schedule of when I have to do things, which is half the time. So I feel panicked half the time.
I got another question here. I'll just read it out. It says, the question is, for memoir projects that involve some element of reportage, like site-specific for a person's family, do people typically do that reportage before they begin or find time throughout the program to toggle between reporting, research, and writing?
From what I've seen, people who have like a lot of research or research heavy or reporting heavy ideas, they've come in with a lot of it done already. I've not seen too many people doing so much of that work, but I would love to hear from our students, like if you are feeling like there's some reporting that needs to be done, if you're sort of balancing that right now as you write. Rosalind?
I think I can speak a little bit to that. I'm sort of writing on my family, and it's a little bit of what I'm writing on is sort of developing in real time. So throughout, I guess, breaks, I speak with family members or I go visit family in Mexico, do interviews with my grandmother and my father. But a large part of what my project is based on, I developed as my undergraduate thesis. So the personal parts of interviews and stuff is sort of ongoing right now, but the theory behind it, all the works that I'll be referencing, I came in with most of it. Although I'm still, finding things as things come up on the interview part.
Anybody else with that?
Okay. Thank you,
Go
Ross. Another question here, a couple logistical questions. What's the approximate age range of MFA students? And 2, do you have students who are able to balance the program with other pre-existing jobs, careers, or is it fully encompassing? I do believe the second question we've addressed, but does anyone want to volunteer your age?
I think it goes from me to Julia, and I'm 55. Julia, you choose.
I'm 23 and I'm straight out from undergrad as well.
I'm 30 and I am also straight out of undergrad after many years going in and out of undergrad.
I'm 24.
I'm 41 and I have an 8-year-old kid and live in Westchester and commute in.
Okay, we got another one here. It says regarding the funding Nonfiction pays full tuition. However, during their first year, you can apply to English Department Awards. Oh, this is Rosa. What am I saying? Should I just read this out? Awesome. This isn't a question. This is a statement. I'll read it. I'll read it. Or do you want to read it, Rosalind?
Yeah, I can just say
Go
it.
ahead.
I think
Yeah, thank
somebody
you.
else had talked about tuition. Nonfiction pays tuition after your first year. You qualify for in-state if you're not a New York resident when you start. During your first year, around February, the English department releases awards and scholarships. Some of those are available to graduate students, not all. So some of them, I think like 1 or 2 are needs-based, so you can write in speaking on why you need assistance with tuition. Others are you submit an essay if you happen to fall under a certain demographic or you've written something under a certain topic, and then you may or may not be awarded that. It ranges anywhere from like $100 to $1,000. So those are, you can apply those to your second year, I guess, because you'll be eligible by spring semester of your first year, but it does take time to credit to your account. So I got one and I still had to pay tuition, and then it was just sort of a refund situation at that point.
That's great. Okay, so then on that topic, there's another question here that says, is there an application fee waiver? And my answer to that is, I don't think so, but Rosalind or anybody else, do you have another? I mean, we could check with Mike Rizzo later, but I don't think there is an application fee waiver. Do we know what the cost is for the application? What was the fee when you guys did it?
I believe it was $50.
It's $50. Okay, yeah, I do not think there is. Okay.
This question coming in from Taylor here. How fleshed out do students typically have their thesis projects before beginning the program? Did you know exactly what you're going to carry out going in, or did you enter with a more general concept and build it out during the program? I want the students to weigh in here, but from Saïd and I's perspective, when you are applying and we interview you, we do want to hear an idea that you've thought through, right? We're not sort of looking for sort of general broad strokes. We want to hear like the idea of building a narrative, like what kind of things are you in conversation with? We're looking for you to have fleshed out this idea more than just being like, well, I'm kind of interested in, like, we want to hear more than that.
Yeah, let me just add one thing to that, because Mike Rizzo said the writing sample is the most important, and agreed, it's very important. But for Mychal, Denzel, and I, we want we want to know what you're going to be working on. What do you have to say? And there's, I believe, two statements that I can't remember how it works, but I think there's a statement, at least statement of purpose. Yeah. So writing sample important, statement of purpose important. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So do any of the students want to weigh in on this?
Yeah.
Well, can I just say that also, like, it can and will probably change for many to greater or lesser degrees over the time you spend working on it. Like, it's impossible to know when you start a book what it will be at the end, right? Or a thesis. So just that, like, reassurance, I guess, that if you come in with a project and it changes, that's okay.
Okay, here's one from Blair. I'm hoping to get a job in narrative medicine, mental illness. I also process my experience with writing poems. I have no idea which branch to perch on. Fiction or poetry, for me, they are interconnected. Aha.
I think that's which to apply to nonfiction.
I'm sorry about what I typed. I can't type with my big fat fingers, and I don't have it's an iPad, and I'm reaching over my yogurt. So
that's okay.
But I write poems literally as therapy to survive. It's like, in my experiences as having a breakdown, accidentally, have shaped me and changed me profoundly, and they are deeply related to writing. And I take it, and I want to also be useful or service people that are, like me, that are marginalized and discriminated against at systemic. And so I want to be part of the solution, as well as, being artsy or whatever and creative, which is actually, joy. And for people that are creative, it's actually necessary. So I apologize. It's been a long day, but I'll leave it at that because I'm kind of not sure what I'm doing. I took a library, Queens, a library class with Cynthia Marie Marmo O'Brien, and she suggested I apply to graduate school. We were writing around our experiences, dealing with, our experiences as having depression, whatever, mental health issues. And so here I am, and I don't know. I feel a little bit like that I don't belong here, and I'm not allowed to be here because I've actually been programmed to feel that way.
So let me
helping marginalized people like myself. That's the takeaway. Am I in the wrong room?
Well, I don't know. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, that's what we're here for. But one thing, and I don't even know if this is what you're asking, and I'd be happy to hear from the students. But Mychal and I, it's a nonfiction program. It's prose. It's fact-based. The creative of our creative nonfiction can sometimes be misconstrued that there's a certain level of invention that is allowed, but that's not quite what we mean by the creative aspect of it. Poetry obviously is its own thing, and as is fiction. So, I mean, there's a very sort of, within this genre, a specific vision of sort of what we're producing here, not necessarily content-wise, but in the style. I don't know if there's anybody who wants to say, I don't even, I mean, did I say that? Mychal, what do you think? Did that seem?
Yeah, no, it's to say the idea of creative nonfiction is not that we come in and we blend a bunch of different modes of engagement that are like fiction and poetry and like playwriting and all of this, right? Like we are writing things that are based in fact, true experiences, real life. We are relaying that. But the creativity is like a lot of that has to do with prose style, I believe. We're talking about like, are you rendering it lyrically? Are you capturing scene and sense, and are you placing people within a narrative? Are you pulling in lots of different reference, right? Like, are you engaging with other text in a way that's interesting? Like all of that stuff is the creative work that's going into it. So, but we are not saying that like, you're writing like half poetry and half like essay. Like the idea is that you're writing something like more akin to essay.
Here's another question. It's should the writing sample show a range or pertain more specifically to the proposed thesis?
I don't think I wouldn't reject anything out and out that doesn't connect directly to your proposed idea if it's really good writing, but I do prefer seeing really good writing that shows me the direction that you're headed. What is the idea that you're presenting to us, and can you show me the execution of that idea?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, Madeline. By range, is it like, so you're going to send in your 20 pages, so do you want to show that you can do like satire and criticism and X and Y and Z. I honestly don't think that's important. I think it just give us your strongest work. I don't think Mychal and I need to see that you're, that you can encompass many different styles. If the question is also though about should it pertain to your project? I mean, it should. It's the best case scenario is that it does. Because then the only other opportunity you really have to show us what your project is going to be is through your artist statement. So, Madeline, if you don't feel like we've answered, just put another message in there.
Jump into,
you answered it. Thank you.
And by the way, if any of the students want to jump in first or second years about any of this, just go ahead.
Yeah, I want to jump into some more questions because I want to make sure we get to all your great questions here. I know this has been discussed already, but would love to hear in a bit more detail about the classes and the assignments outside of class, aside from the thesis, just a more in-depth description of what the days, weeks look like in these 2 years. I will throw that to our students who are living it.
So sorry, Natalie. Sorry. I have classes twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays. Monday is my long day. So I have 2 classes that day. I have craft, and after craft, I go to my elective class, which is Intro to Literary Studies. And then on Thursday, I have 1 class, which is workshop. And so, yeah, that's what my week looks like.
I guess I'll speak a little bit to assignments. Twice a semester, we each submit 10 pages to be workshopped by our peers and by our workshop professor. And then in our craft class, we're assigned usually 2 to 4 different essays to read and then discuss together in class.
And with the workshop submissions, everybody is responding to whoever is submitting for that week with a roughly 1-page editorial letter, as well as annotations on their actual manuscript. And then post-workshop, you will meet with me for half an hour to an hour, where we discuss in depth the workshop questions you have, your thesis. And that type of thing is just when it works out in your schedules. I don't want anybody to feel like, we're flexible about things like that. Mychal, do you want to say, can someone speak to the craft class? What's going on and how much reading? Natalie, you want to speak to it?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Ariel sort of summed that up.
She did? Okay, gotcha.
I'm signing is sort of 2 to 4 essays a week, depending on their length, and then we're discussing, and then you have a couple of writing assignments in the course of the semester.
Natalie, you're off the hook. Okay, another question, is the 500-word limit on statement of purpose a hard limit, or is it okay to spill over? I don't know, try to do it within 500.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a 500-word limit, and I don't know a writer yet who has never gone over their word limit. So I don't know. I guess the question is really whether or not it can get through. I would say if it's 500 words, don't send me 1,000, right? That's just overkill. And we have many applications to read through. That's just going to put a little sour taste in our mouths. But I would say stick to around that 500. Stay close.
Yep. Okay, here's another one. It's wait a minute, I had it here. Any favorite projects that were eventually published by Nonfiction alum? And it's a good question. Actually, right now, one of our students from, I guess it was 3 years ago, Mychal, Jadra, who's, who's essentially publishing what her thesis was. When she graduated, she turned it into a full-length book. I'm blanking on the press.
It won some contest judged by Maggie Nelson and was selected to be published. Yeah.
So that's forthcoming. I had a student a number of years ago who actually came to visit class last year who, actually this could go to the journalism. I totally blanked on it. Her name is Jessica Hester, and she is doing more journalism. So there you go. There's somebody who came out. She just wrote a book called Sewer. It's nonfiction reportage about actually the sewer systems and her experience exploring them. And that came out, I believe, that was published within the last year or two. There's another one here. Following, sorry, go ahead, Mike. You want to go?
No, go ahead.
It's probably not the best program for someone looking to improve their general literary nonfiction craft, right? I mostly write essays, but don't have a book project in mind. This is from Mike Diago. Mike, I don't know. I mean, that's partly what we're doing. If you only have essays, that's fine. I mean, a collection of essays is totally viable book to be working towards. If you're thinking of that as opposed to a memoir, I mean, both are totally acceptable. But I mean, Mychal and I do work on craft. That's part of what we do. And you'd be taking one craft class a semester. That is if I'm understanding the question correctly. So I would say, no, this could be the program for you.
Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering, because I'm writing a lot of essays currently, but I don't have any. It sounded like you had to come to the table with like a longer project in mind, and I don't.
You don't see necessarily how those essays cohere into a book.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they could. They do have some thematic similarities. They could be tied together, I suppose. So maybe that's enough.
I think that's fine. Do not let that stop you from applying. I think that's more than fine. See what you can come up with as far as the idea of what, hey, this essay collection will be about this or these things. Essay collections can sometimes have a broad concept behind them. Don't let that preclude you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Another question coming in here. Are you looking for one long piece sample or can we submit multiple shorter pieces? I've seen applications come in that contain multiple pieces, but I would say I don't think it should be too short, right? Like I wouldn't say turn in like 5 750 word pieces. Like if they're going to be shorter, they still need to show the work of like some essayistic style writing.
Okay, here's one. And I think we're going till 8:30. So but this is a complicated. It says, will you speak to the difference between fiction and creative nonfiction if you're in the auto fiction gray area?
Yeah, I would say like we're not doing auto fiction here, right? Like we're not fictionalizing the experience and creating a novel or short story out of it. We're dealing with the reality of it.
I concur. I understand that some writing programs may allow students to transfer graduate level lit credits from an accredited institution. Is it possible to transfer the credits I received from Columbia? I don't think so. I'm going to go out on a limb there. I don't think you can. I think you've got to take your 2 lit courses here. Any first or second year students know differently than that? I mean, I think everybody's got to take them. That's part of the program. Yeah.
Actually, no. There was someone
Really?
who was able to transfer literature courses, but they were from another CUNY institution. So it has to be, I think, within CUNY, as far as I know.
Okay, so they were able to do a lit course, and then it allowed them to get out of taking another lit course here for the MFA?
Yeah, there's someone in our current cohort who was doing a master's in a different program at CUNY.
Gotcha.
Done
Gotcha.
literature classes at the graduate
Yep.
level at CUNY and transferred those credits here.
Good. And for everybody, do you have Michael Rizzo's contact info? And if not, I'm sure you can just get it right off the website. He's the person to ask for some of these more technical questions just about applying and what's required. Okay. Any other question? I'm looking to see.
There's one question. Are we able to find current students published public work? I'm curious on the writing everyone is doing or has done prior to being accepted. Anyone want to drop some links to some stuff that you've written that you want to share?
Nice.
I think there's something on the website too, right? That has Hunter alum in their publications.
It might.
I'll look for it.
Okay, here's another one. Shirley, I have over 200-page collection of self-reflective essays, poems, third-person and first-person writing accounts, etc. I see it as nonfiction because it's about me and my travels to 26 countries, coming of age, exploring being Afro-Latina abroad. I root things in history, but I do use mystic elements and invent some narratives. Is this considered nonfiction or fiction? I think you had me at nonfiction all the way until you said invent some narratives. Mystic elements sounds like that could probably work, maybe that's stylistic, but once we start inventing, then we're losing the nonfiction part of what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I can.
But and then also to your point, listen, and I don't know if this is going to complicate things, Shirley, but like third person, like that's part of our creative nonfiction mandate. Like you can write about yourself in the third person. You could write about yourself in the second person. That's just a stylistic choice. But within that, even though you're doing a third person account, it should still be factually accurate. Okay. Hey, by the way, thanks everybody for all these. Wow.
Yes.
You're also prolific.
Mm.
Okay. Great. Other questions? We have about 7 more minutes. Anything else? What do we want to know? Madeline, you're good. Mike is good. Adam, have not heard from, I don't think. Shirley's good. Sage.
Saïd, can I just say something real quick?
Please, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I had a lot of fear that I had a lot of anxiety about the application process because I wasn't an English major. So I haven't read like all the classics and stuff. And like, but I discovered kind of late in my undergrad career that I was really interested in writing. And so I don't know, I guess I'm just saying that if there are folks who didn't always think that they were going to write, as a full-time practice or experience. Yeah, I just wanted to drop that.
That's great, Chelsea. Nicole, you're
And
good?
she's a really good writer.
And she's good, right? Nicole's good. Any questions, Nicole?
It's so
Cleo?
interesting, Chelsea,
You too,
because I was
Lisa.
going to ask that. I have no like professional writing experience. I like majored in journalism in college, so like no professional creative nonfiction writing. And I've also been trying to figure out, well, is this the right program for me? Because I'm also writing true family histories, but it has elements that maybe, you know, it would be called like magical realism or something, because in Sri Lanka, where I'm from, there's loads of ghost stories and things like that that are, you know, in the West, it would be considered magical realism. When I put that in my work and writing classes, they've been like, this is fiction. But in Sri Lanka, it's truth. You know, like we grow up with these stories, believe them. And I'm like wondering how, you know, that's where I am in working on my application. I'm like really trying to still have those elements. I'm a little like confused on whether my work would fit in here.
Let's help her out.
I think Chelsea can speak to this too, actually. I mean, I linked to like a little flash piece in the comments that actually was part of my application. It was accepted once I, you know, was in my second semester. Like I said, that is kind of like magic realism. My work is based on like indigenous futurisms, which is sort of a fiction microgenre, but I'm writing from a nonfiction perspective about my family. But I do like, I think I submitted something a year ago that had like a huge section that was sort of like lyrical speculation on what it meant that a mantis was alive or dead based on like my father's migration experience and stuff like that. So it's not strictly a one-for-one retelling of my family's experiences. There are some places where I've put in the more fantastical is not the right word, but I think that what you're saying resonates a lot with what my project is like. So I would say that it's okay.
That's great. Chelsea, you want to say anything about that?
Just that I second that, and I personally like the word fantastical, because I think it's necessary in order to convey the like, the I don't know, the some of the spirituality of the Caribbean. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Also, I just wanted to tell you, Nicole, that I, in undergrad, majored in broadcast communication and also had a lot of doubt about applying and felt like I wouldn't, like it wasn't the right space for me, or that I would be like majorly behind in some way. But it, like, I mean, I am just a first year still, but it doesn't, I don't feel out of place. And it doesn't sound like you would be.
Wow, thank you so much, everyone. I guess that's why y'all do this, right? The open house.
And also Nicole and everyone, listen, it's a class, it's school. Like you're here to learn. This is why you're coming in. We don't expect, Mychal and I are not expecting like everybody to be polished and have it all down pat. If you did, then you don't need school. So, and we'll figure it out together. We'll figure it out together.
Yeah, no one's read all the classics.
Yeah,
no one
right.
has. Just no one. Not a single person. I've not read 90% of them.
Ariel, can you say yours out loud? Because you just put a really nice thing in the chat.
Yeah, I went to fashion school for undergrad, so I didn't read any of the classics. I don't have a literature background, writing background, research background. Like I didn't learn any of this in a school setting.
Wait a minute, Lisa, say yours.
Well, I haven't taken an English class since high school, and I graduated from high school in 1986. So, be that what it may. Mychal told me recently I had to read hard things, and so I'm trying to do that.
Question from Beth is, can you apply to more than one MFA program at a time? Yes, you can. Yes, Beth. Absolutely. And then Michael and I will tell you
But
why.
why would you?
Yeah, exactly. We'll tell you why
Would
Hunter
you
is the
do
place
that?
for you. Okay. I don't know. Have I missed anything? Any last thoughts, questions before we say goodnight?
One last question that says, is there much reading assigned? I will let the students determine how much reading they believe that we do.
More than one at Hunter.
It's not a lot of reading.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like a few hours a week.
Yeah, it kind of depends on what elective you take too. There's an elective I'm taking right now that is kind of heavy on reading, but that's up to what you choose. But as far as the craft class, it's not like unmanageable at all.
Yeah, that's right. In the first year, when you take your literature classes, there is a lot more reading than in the second year, it's much less.
Yeah. This isn't boot camp. I'm not here to like whip you into shape. Like, it's not my idea. We're here to help guide you into becoming a better writer.
Also, just logistically, Ariel and I both took our literature classes in the summer. So that's been easier in terms of spreading out reading.
And then Lisa, when are you going to take your next one, your second one?
Next summer.
Oh, next summer. Oh, so you're doing
Yeah.
both in the summer. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. That's great. Oh, Rosalind, thank you. That's great. That was for Allie. Is there a list of electives on the website? And then Rosalind, that's great, Rosalind. And then, the
But
question
you
from
can
Beth.
also, sorry,
Yeah.
can I just
Go ahead.
interject? You can also take the graduate level literature classes at other CUNY colleges. So I know like Rosalind and another second year took their courses in Queens.
No, I took both at City College. So you can also you can just Google whatever other college you want to, so long as it's in the CUNY program. I think Brooklyn College has a lot of good classes, and I really like City College's classes as well. So both of my literature courses first year, I took them over there. I didn't take one at Hunter.
And you can also do like literary theory and criticism, which can be really helpful as well if you don't want to read like Anna Karenina. Like there are a lot of very different types of things you can.
Yeah, if you advocate for yourself, somebody else in our cohort and me took one that was like art and writing, and it was just like analyzing art, and we went to galleries and stuff, and we told Mike Rizzo, please send him the course description and stuff so that we could apply it to our literature courses, and he approved it. So it wasn't strictly like 18th century literature or anything.
And then just one last thing for Beth, just to clarify, Beth was asking about applying to the other MFA program simultaneously at Hunter. I don't think you can do that, Beth, but I might be wrong. Does anybody know? And that might be a Mike Rizzo question. Can Beth apply for Hunter Poetry as well simultaneously? Beth, I don't think so.
No. I mean, I imagine they take your application fees, you know. I imagine that they would welcome that.
Yeah, at Brooklyn College, they don't do, I don't think they do. Beth, I don't think so. But double check with Mike Rizzo.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rosalind. All right. We're at time. If any other thoughts come out, just feel free to reach out. You can get Michael's and my email addresses. And there's also Mike Rizzo who can answer questions. Thanks, everyone. I'll see my students tomorrow, and maybe I'll see the rest of you in the fall.
Indeed. Take care.
Bye, Michael. Thank you. Bye.